let's talk BYU football, and let's talk with Tommy Prassas. Now, many of you have probably heard the name for multiple years now about Prassas, and he's been a guy that BYU's called upon multiple times at free safety and at strong safety. But midway through training camp earlier this year, BYU found itself with a major question mark at its nickelback spot. Now, in Jay Hill's defense, the base alignment is a 4-down, 3 linebacker alignment, but in this day and age of college football, the 4-2-5 with the fifth defensive back there being a nickelback has become really, really critical to success to combat spread offenses. Well, BYU is counting on Jonathan Cabea, who looked the part at that spot. Then he gets injured and had to undergo surgery, and he's on the shelf for the time being. Well, they had to look at other options, and they tried a number of different guys. I know that we saw at one point during the media availability, saw guys like Tavion Beasley, Cannon DeVries all get opportunities at that spot. But Jay decided to call upon one of his safeties and put Tommy Prassas at that spot. And to Tommy's credit, he embraced it. He's absolutely owned it. And so far, so good in terms of the overall productions. Has he had some mistakes? Absolutely. But who doesn't on the football field? He's playing a brand new position. He was kind of thrust into, and to his credit, as I mentioned, he's kind of taken it on headlong and really has embraced this being his new home. And I had a chance to catch up with him at practice last week to talk about that and what he hopes to accomplish at both, in this case, nickelback, and probably down the line back at safety. But here's that exclusive chat with Tommy Prassas right here on Locked On Cougars.
What's been your overall impression as you make a position change?
I'd say overall it's, not that crazy. Just more man coverage on slots. And sorry, everybody walking by.
They're clowning on you, I get it.
Yeah, it's just more man coverage on slots and just playing closer to the line of scrimmage, get to doing more like blitzing, playing low hole coverages, and yeah.
When it comes to that, you played safety, and obviously you're covering guys as a responsibility in that, but what's it like having to go up against guys almost every play in that respect now?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a competition for real, like just a lot more action, I'd say, and it's more fun. You get to, it's one-on-one battles every play, and you kind of get to test your skills against other, good competition, so I love it.
What was the conversation like when Coach Hill approached you and said, hey, we need to see if you can maybe move up a position?
Yeah, I've been training all off season for with the corners and doing more corner technique stuff and kind of working my man coverage and low zone coverages. So I kind of was prepared going into camp, and I kind of maybe expected it, but then there's been some injuries in the corner in the nickel room, so I wasn't surprised, but I was happy he said that because starting be on the field and making plays and just getting in my groove is just nothing better.
Was that kind of the mindset, like you just wanted to find a way onto the field?
Yeah, I think I definitely contribute to the team, and we'll be able to make plays on the field, and I can't do that on the bench. So
now, when you're operating at two different positions, 'cause I know you're still working some at safety, make sure you're staying engaged there. How difficult can that be to have a mindset of, hey, I need to play safety in one circumstance, but all of a sudden flip mindset and play up at the nickelback spot?
Yeah, I'd say in the beginning it was more difficult because our nickel and strong are opposite of each other, so it's it kind of was confusing me for the first couple weeks of camp, but then right now I've got it down, so I've got I'm in my groove and I know the difference, and I know how to flip it to nickel and stronger for you.
What is your chief strength, you think, of that nickel spot?
I just think my overall knowledge of the game. I take pride in preparing against opponents, and I feel like I know what they're going to do before they even snap the ball or an idea of what they could do. So my ability to just pounce on routes and make plays, or even play man coverage in low holes, just because strong safety is basically the same thing. So I already had experience there, and now just being able to showcase my talents in man coverage is just, awesome.
How good can this defense be, in your opinion?
Best defense in the country.
I like that. I like the bold declaration there. Why? What gives you that confidence? Because it was a pretty good defense last year.
I mean, Coach Hill hasn't changed. He's the GOAT, and we've got playmakers all around the field. Our linebacking core is amazing. Our D-line's, top tier. And our DBs make plays, so I'm not really worried about. We have no flaws. I think we're gonna, be great again this year.
How different is it this year having some guys up front like a Keanu Tanuvasa? How much does that make a difference in your opinion?
Yeah, no, I think going into this offseason, a big, factor was to get better against the run defense, and he does that for us. Yeah, him, JT, Kirk, like when he gets back, like all of them, like they're gonna plug the holes up in there, and they're gonna have to pass, and we're gonna make plays. So yeah.
You get a front row seat when you're playing that nickel spot alongside guys like Isaiah Glasker and Jack Kelly. How much better are they in your opinion?
Yeah, no, they're high draft picks in my eyes. They're gonna be great. We're obviously gonna ball out this year, but they're gonna be great in the league. They're amazing players.
In your heart of hearts, do you want to stick at nickel long term, or do you care?
I mean, I think it's ultimately wherever coach feels like he needs me, and wherever I'm gonna go make plays. But I'm loving nickel right now.
Yeah.
I like it. It's just a lot more action, getting the blitz, getting the cover, just really everything. And I like being able to showcase my talents in there.
Last thing for me is when you work, because if I'm mistaken, nickel, you work with Gennaro, is that correct?
Yeah.
So what's it like working between Coach Hill and Coach Guilford to have that back and forth?
I think it's great. I think being able to be in the meeting rooms with Coach Hill and Eddie Heckard's also back.
Yeah.
So being able to, pick his brain, because he is not long out the game. So like being able to pick his brain, and then also being able to come here into practice and be individual drills with Coach Guilford and working my technique and picking his brain as well. It's really good. It's awesome, to be honest.
Well, I want to ask you about Eddie real quick. I completely forgot that he was around. What has he been most instrumental in? Just his experience factor? Can he point to exactly what to do on any given play?
Yeah, no, I think just his overall experience. I think he's been able to. I've watched film several times with him, just one-on-one, and just trying to pick his brain and see it how he sees it, because he sees it very similar to Coach Hill, but he played it. So like at Weber and here, so he's been able to help me with like the zone coverages, seeing offenses are doing, how I could fix my technique in certain ways, and yeah, it's been great to have him.
A big thank you to Tommy Prassas for taking the time to join us here on the podcast. And I think he's got the right mindset when it comes to it. He's able to obviously show off his athleticism. He's got above average athleticism. He's long, he's rangy, and more importantly than that, he is absolutely studying his guts out to be as good as he possibly can be. You heard him talk about the fact he's working with guys like Gennaro Guilford and obviously Jay Hill as a safeties coach. Those are two guys that are going to get you coached up about as well as anybody inside the BYU football program. And if they can't get the most out of you, I'm not sure that anybody else in that program is going to get anything out of you anything more out of you than they will. Because I absolutely think they are two of BYU's best position coaches, but more importantly, talent developers inside that football program. And I really do think that Tommy Prassas, he'll hold down the fort. Now, we'll see with Jonathan Cabea if and when he gets back, if he takes that spot right back from Tommy Prassas. But I'd be hard-pressed to think that Prassas is going to be willing to step aside and say, you take that spot back. I'm going to go back to safety and compete for playing time there. He wants to be on the field, as you heard him talk about, and I can respect that because these guys are competitors. They want nothing more than to be as successful as they possibly can be. But beyond that, they also just want to play the game they love. And too often, when you're a backup, you don't get to play the reps that you want. And that can be tough to stomach. So I can appreciate that Tommy embraced playing this nickel spot. And I wish him the absolute best as he moves forward here, because it's a critical role and a critical cog in BYU's defense under Jay Hill. And he's got to succeed at a high level if BYU also wants to succeed at a high level. So big thank you once again to Tommy for taking the time to join us here on the podcast, and looking forward to seeing his continued success going forward here as a member of the BYU football program.